Hello there, General Grant. I'm a rector for the war back in England, and I was wondering if I could ask you some of the viewpoints of the Civil War.
Yes, I can. I do have some time.
Okay, so first of all, I'm new to this county, so what did Abraham Lincoln have to do with this war and how is he affecting it?
Well, this goes back about 4 years ago, 1857, when Lincoln first started trying to run for senator. The issue of slavery wasn't as much a big deal and there wasn't much controversy about it. Yet, but don't get me wrong, there was different viewpoints about it, and what is called the Dred Scott decision had just happened a year before in 1857. Abe Lincoln ran for Senate a couple of years ago in what was called the congressional election of 1858. Lincoln is running as a Republican against Democrat Stephen A. Douglas. Douglas was a lawyer, very successful if you will. He joined the Democratic Party in 1842 and became Senate in 1846. I could talk about this all day, but I don't have the time, so long story short, Douglas won the election by a very slim shot, but this is just the beginning of Abe's journey in politics and in the Civil War itself. But that doesn't stop Lincoln. In 1860, the differences in the North and South are much worse than back in 1857, and some of the southern states are beginning to think about secession, and the issue of slavery is the huge reason for North and South's differences, and the election of 1860 is approaching. The North wing of the Democrats elect Stephen Douglas for president.
Whoa, well, this is pretty intense.
I'm not done yet. Anyways, the Republicans nominate Abe Lincoln to run for president. Their reasoning, to attract voters from different voters from many parts, and that slavery should stay as it is but not in the territories. Many Southerners thought that this, if successful, would lead to many slave revolts. With the Democrats being divided, Lincoln wins the election with the majority of electoral votes, 180 out of 303, so he only received about 40% of the people's votes, Douglas with only 30%. After the South gets nervous, thinking that she would not get their rights protected, and on December 20, 1860, South Carolina is the first Southern state to secede the Union.
Wow, this is very interesting. I had no idea the war was this complicated.
Yup, well now here we are. Before South Carolina's secession, Union leaders and D.C. Senator John Crittenden of Kansas tried to make a compromise to protect slavery south of the 36-30 north latitude, the line set in the Missouri Compromise, but the Republicans said it was unacceptable and didn't agree. In February 1861, delegates from states Texas, Missouri, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, and Georgia meet and form a new nation called the Confederate States of America and elect Jefferson Davis their president. And that is pretty much it. The U.S. goes into a civil war after what I call the Fort Sumter incident. The South tests the president's vow to hold federal property, and a day after Lincoln's inauguration he receives a dispatch from the commander of Fort Sumter that they were low on supplies and that the Sioux demand their surrender. It pretty much goes downhill from here, and the war begins, North and South fighting for different causes.
Well, thank you for your time. I will have a very good story to share back home in England.